how does the feminine, like the divine feminine leadership, like principle, how do we navigate conflict and team dynamics? You touched a little bit on it, but I would love to hear more. Like, what was your take on it? Like, what has shifted? What has changed? And now you feel like, okay, I want to actually lead the business from maybe more like the divine aspect, and even if we want to use another word besides divine, like it could also be like more integrated, more conscious, more
Right.
um,
And,
optimized. Yes,
yeah.
perspective. Then how do you navigate like those conflicts and those team dynamics within groups?
So it starts with having clear boundaries,
Hmm.
right? So honestly, to be able to manage conflict starts by having very clear boundaries.
Hmm.
And when you have clear boundaries and you can communicate it clearly, then it becomes very obvious to people where that is. Now, if you, okay, sometimes you have to be willing to shift a little bit because circumstances, happen. But as long as those boundaries remain, the rigidity of the boundaries are around your integrity, right?
Hmm.
What you define as integrity. So your definition of integrity might be slightly different than my definition of integrity. So get very clear about what is integrity for you,
Mm. So
right?
you
So
even
you
start with
start
the
there.
clarity for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people might not even have this clarity within themselves. They don't even know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me to see how people expect other people to know what they're thinking or expect other people to know, hey, that was rude, right? That was rude. Well, they may not have found it to be rude because you didn't clarify for them that this is your boundary, right?
Mm.
You didn't say, hey, this is how I expect to be spoken to. And you don't have to say, hey, this is how I expect to be spoken to, right? But you show that. And then when somebody crosses that boundary, you say, actually, I would appreciate, and if you would not, like, I don't particularly like the F bomb, right? I use it on
Mhm.
occasion, but when somebody's using it over and over and over, I'm like, I, I'm okay. I understand, people use it. I use it as well. But when you're using it every third word, sorry, I'm not okay with that. And so I'm being clear about my boundary, right?
Mhm.
And that's just a very simple example, but there are many other examples like that where you can be clear. You have to be very clear about your time. My kids all know if my door is closed, they may knock, lightly. And if I say, go ahead and come in, then it's okay. If I don't answer, they know, right?
Mhm.
So I'm very clear about certain boundaries. And I think when women were so used to taking care of everything and everyone all of the time, we forget that we get to take care of us too. And our energy and our boundaries are just as important as someone else's. And when we're in leadership, it's even more important.